Hello class, welcome back to the business law course and still in the banking law topic. This is the fifth as well as the last subtopic of this topic. Still with me, your lecturer Sujana Nandi speaking. And for this last part, we are going to talk about bank secrecy. Have you ever experienced getting a call from someone or a certain institution, especially financial institution or bank, and offering you many kind of services, well, actually you never, as long as you remember, you never give your number to them. I don't know, maybe because you're still in school. I mean, you're still a student. Maybe not many of you experience with that, but for me, or maybe for the others, your parents, let's say, or your brother who already work, we used to get some call offering us many kind of services, many kind of financial instrument. Well, actually, we never gave our number to those institutions. If it were me, every time I got that kind of calling, the first questions I always delivered to the one who called me is, where do you get my number? Because I need to know where they get my number. Because if they get my number from the bank where I am the customer in that bank, then the bank already committed to a violation of a bank secrecy. So what is actually a bank secrecy? Bank secrecy is anything related to the information regarding the depositor or the customer and his deposits. So the bank must keep my information, and they are not allowed to give my information to the other parties, including also how much money I have in their banks, and also how much credit I have in their banks. So they cannot give it to the other parties because they are mandated to protect my information. And maybe you've heard many discussion in internet that nowadays, and even years, so since years ago, there are some institution who sells the data regarding the information of their customers, and it just possibly brings some disadvantage for us because now our data can be known by other party, and maybe this other party could use it for something bad. So that's why every time you got a call and you never think that you give the number to the caller, do not respond to them, do not respond what they offer, but firstly ask, where do you get my number? If they said it's from the bank where you are the customer, then you can asking the responsibility for the bank. It is also a tort. Remember at the previous subtopic we discussed about tort, PMH, perbuatan melawan hukum, an action against the law that bring us economic disadvantages, economic loss. So bank secrecy is the obligation of a bank. Nevertheless, Indonesian law also recognizes several situations that is excluded from the obligation of the bank to keep the information. So in several situations, the bank can open our information as their customer or as their depositors. Those exception is based on Article 41, Law of Banking. I already gave you the number of the regulation. You may check it in Article 41 until 44. The exceptions are including the first one in the matter of the interest of taxation. If the tax office considering this person or this company is committed to a certain action to hide their liability of the tax, so the office or the government in this case can ask the bank where the suspect uh, is becoming the customer, to open the information about this customer. So then the legal procedure of the tax investigation can be conducted. So if you are committed to a certain action to hide your tax, or you do not pay your tax, then the tax office, and as well as the other authorized governments that allowed by the law, they can ask the informations about you, about your account, about your money in the bank where you are the customer of the bank. So in this case, when the bank open your information to the authorized, it is not a violation of the bank secrecy, because it is allowed. It is an exception based on the Article 41 law of the bank. The second one is, in order to settle those claims which have been transferred to agency for credit debt and auction affair. Yeah. In order to settle claim which is regarding the stat debt or an auction affair. Remember when I told you that if you fail to pay your liability to the bank, so the bank uh, can do the auctions to your asset. So sometimes the government also could auctions someone's asset, let's say in the bankruptcy process, kepailitan in Indonesia. In bankruptcy, when you are bankrupted or a company is bankrupted, stated by the government, by the court, then there could be some action conducted by the curator, the legal curator. It's not the curator for the ancient goods, no, but the curator of law, which is which the job is to settle the payment of your liability when you are bankrupted, ketika dipilotkan. So you have to pay your liability to your creditor. So the one who will manage your asset now is the curator. So for the interest of the auction of your assets, then the government or the authorized can asking the bank to open your total informations in that bank. So then the total of asset that you have can be known by the curator. Then the curator can list it and can calculate how much asset that you have and how much the potential money that could be earned from the auction. That's number two. That's the exception. So in this kind of situation, when the bank open this information, so it is not a violation. The third one is in the interest of court procedure in criminal case. Court procedure in criminal case. For example, if someone is committed or suspected for a corruption or money laundering, so during the process of the litigation or the process in the court, the judges, also the prosecutor, need to find the facts, including the fact of the money that you have as the suspect of the corruptions, to find the total information. So one of the things that can be done by the prosecutor, for example, is to check your account in the banks where you are the customer of the bank, where you become the customer. So they need to know how much is the real money that you have in that bank. So in this case, when the prosecutor or the authorized institution asking the bank where you are the customer, where you become the customer, they're asking the information about you to the bank, and then the bank open it, it is not a violation of bank secrecy because it is accepted from the bank secrecy obligation, because there is a need of the enforcement of law in criminal action. So in this case, when the bank open it to the prosecutor, they give the information of you, of your money, of your credit in the bank. So now the prosecutor has the data. So the bank is not committed to any violation here. Number four, in case of a civil suit between bank and customer. This is related to the previous part regarding the settlement of the bad credit. I told you that one of the solution that the bank can use to ask the money from the debtor who is failed to pay the money is to sue them to the court. So when there is a lawsuit between the bank and the customer, in this case, when the bank open the information about your money in that bank, so it is not a violation of the bank secrecy. The fifth one is for the purpose of bank information exchange, exchange of bank information. So there is a system, we call it BI checking, Bank Indonesia checking, that one bank is linked to another bank regarding the information of the debtors. Let's say that you are a debtor in bank A, and then you are going to apply for another credit to bank B. So bank B, they can check whether you have any liability in another bank. And then let's say that in BI checking, they find out that your name is still has some liability, some installment in bank A. And maybe you are has been blacklisted by bank A. So it could be their main information to consider your application. So in this case, bank B could also try to get oral information, oral confirmation directly to bank A. So bank B can communicate with bank A, and bank A can open the information about you in their bank to the bank B for the consideration of bank B, whether they want to approve or reject your application. So in this case, when bank A open your information to bank B, it is not a violation because it is allowed in order to to create the exchange information that could be beneficial for bank in considering someone's application. The sixth one is upon a personal request of the customer. Let's say I am the customer in bank C, and I ask bank C to open my information maybe to a certain institution or to public. Why do I want to open my information? Sometimes because I am a civil servant. Let's say that I have an obligation to report my asset to the government, or maybe I am an officer in a certain government institution, ya, pejabat negara, pejabat pemerintahan, or maybe I am the legislator, so I have a liability to open my money, my asset information, as well as if I am the governor, I am the major, this is my liability. So in this case, when I ask the bank to open the information of my money in their bank upon my personal request, and then the bank opened it, it is not a violation. But out of that, out of the 6 reasons, it is a violation. So the bank cannot just give the information to, let's say, an insurance company, let's say, to a financial instrument institution, yeah, like Sadana, for example. No, they cannot give it. So if they give it to them, maybe they sell it. So this opening of the bank, yeah, they are already do the violation of the bank secrecy. Even though nowadays there is one issue, especially when there is a tax amnesty, there is a regulation issued by President Joko Widodo, which then gives a situation that seems like every tax officer now can access our bank information. Well, that is still debatable whether it is necessary or not. And if you want to read further about that, it is provided in my book. But the point is you can see it from different points of view, because now with the regulation, even though we are not having some problem in the court, or maybe we don't have any bad debt in a bank, now a tax officer can check our information of deposits in the bank. So that is about bank secrecy. This is one of the main informations and also one of the main subtopic in banking law, because one of your final exam is also related to this, as long as I remember. And this is gonna be the closing of this topic. Hopefully you can still keep it up and cheer up and just enjoy it. There's still more lot of things to do, but believe me, everything will pass. All things must pass. This too will pass. Okay? Thank you. God bless you all. See you at the next topic.